Hello, this is the Freighter SH Immortal Hours. And I am Freighter SH, and this is the Power Glove Congress. And we're coming to you live from a Taco Bell. Ha ha! Oh boy, this is like something out of the old days, when we used to say, we're coming to you live from Elmer's Tated the Horse Meat Stack and Shack of Cracked, Ohio. No, we're from a Taco Bell. Sure, sort of hope we don't get in trouble by having to use an actual copyright term there. But um, apparently, the S Duck here has invited me, for us to go on, a little thing here, date or something. Oh, so S Duck. I know what everyone's saying. Well, it's not much of a power glove Congress, just the two of you. Well, over there at another table is Mr. Peck and IG88, and you'll be able to pick up their audio. We can't hear them, of course. Yeah, you can hear this right now. It's me, bad Mr. Peck, and I'm really happy for Freighter and S Duck. I think they make great, horrible people, horrible couple, horrible people, just sarcastic, nasty people, just gossiping, just terrible, horrible, nasty, awful people. Here's IG88, and the voice synthesis chip isn't always working quite well, so this is a really pretty one-sided conversation right now. Um, so IG88, how are you feeling? And actually, you know what? I don't want a simple how you feeling. I was talking about so Frater got through deja vu. What's your analysis of all that?
I am in a status of excellent. DJVU is about buying a man with amnesia who has been framed for murder. Frater followed the guide to the best of his ability but properly remarked that the two guides had issues at one point that didn't allow his the proper steps to finishing the game.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. IG88. Um, I really think I understand why Frater isn't really allowing you to talk as much as there was a few times in there conversation where I was kind of like, well, did I need to have a German translation book or something? I mean, I like the accent sometimes, but I get a feeling that the people at home probably aren't understanding most of that, and I think sorry, IG88. I think Frater might not be allowing you to say too much more in the future. But don't worry. I'm sure you're used to not having that much of a sound chip. Well, we're gonna have we're gonna pass the feed over to Freighter and S Duck because I'm sure that's going to be some content. Okay, folks, let's head it over.
Frauder sweetie, these people really smell, and I swear they talk backwards or something.
Yeah, well, see what it is, S Duck. I think these are sort of leftovers from Mr. Pennypacker's code. See, when what really would I say we? See, well, Mr. Peck over there isn't really Mr. Peck. He's Mr. Pennypacker. Uh, See, he's got like NPCs, and what it is they have non-essential scripting. I know you're looking at me like, what? What? Like, I know. I have to explain this to you. Um, See, you're in this. You're in an essential NPC. I'm a super essential NPC. So not all NPCs are made alike. S Duck. I mean, did you ever notice in some video games how there's some people you walk up to and they just don't really say much of anything? They say like, high, like what I mean? Like, like,
Kind of like those Adlery games. You know they were bringing those things out every year.
yeah, those games. I had a tellery, tellery. I had that game. I had Tellery Sophia, and actually in the older shows, we had done playthroughs of that game. When I was with a more subpar cast, I was the greatest cast member of them all, and you're nodding. Yeah, yeah, I was always the best of them. Even bad Mr. Peck over there, he's giving me a thumbs up, like, yep, 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 yep. Yeah, you were always the best one of all of those. Yep. So, yeah, yeah, they were always like cutting and pasting those games out the same every year, and I just I couldn't even like fathom like just how bad those games were. And so yeah, is it- what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so basically to get back on track here, um, these people talk backwards. You notice that? So yeah, so basically, they're non-essential. They don't have a script. Yes, they're like the NPCs from those games. That they just don't have a point or a purpose. The smell, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like a if styrofoam. It's kind of like rotten styrofoam or something. I don't even know how to describe that. It's just kind of funny to me that this kind of came up to my in my head. So okay, so we are a gaming show. Well, even though you and me are on a date, really, Saturngrad is getting into romance now. Well, we are writers here. We anything is subject to right. We could actually create a romance story with characters. It's never actually. I don't think Mr. Peck. Wait it right here. Have we ever on Saturngrad ever did a romance story with our characters? No, 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 no. Let me come on over. Now, first off, we're a Star Wars people. Okay, so I gotta ask Doug, you remember any kind of valuable romance stories in Star Wars?
Why no, George Lucas absolutely terrible when it comes to romance stories.
Oh, I see, exactly. He's absolutely terrible. So why you would expect that we would do that? But look, it's been a what, 15 years now that we've been doing this show? This show, of course, understand I'm really in control of everything here. But under short notice, Stuck, I had no choice but allow Bad Freighter here some creative control with this one because I do need a host here. I can't host. Mr. Pennypacker. I can't control it all. So I gotta let Freighter have this exactly. And this is the way it is, and we do old NES games but we do good NES games, games I like. Well, we've had debates about this, Stuck and Freighter, but I will go back to over of IG-88. I want to let you know IG-88 is absolutely horrendous with his voice. I know, I understand your point of view, Mr. Peck. People can't understand what he's saying. Like I liked it at first because at first I thought it was so silly, and it's terrible. Like I can't understand him most of the time. I know, like, but it was your call. You said, "Well, how about this IG-88?" And then you have a sound chip. That is on me. Although I'm sure there's someone I can blame. Well, you are bad. The good freighter, he would have been like, "Well, I made a mistake. I made an error, and I may have public apology." You're the bad freighter. You're a heel, and you don't make mistakes. Exactly. I'm always the victim. It's always everyone else's fault. It's always Jack Tunney, and I know that Jack Tunney. That Jack Tunney's screwing us heels over everywhere. And, I talked about with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and we have always been getting shafted. Always getting shafted. Okay, so I'm going back over here with the dumb bot. Okay, so yeah, S Duck. So basically, the game of we're going into a new phase in the show, honey. I saw you smiled when I said that. You like that. Yeah, I guess we're progressing in this relationship, and it's starting with a simple date, and well, but basically, we're starting a new phase where we're gonna have Final Fantasy, the NES Final Fantasy. It's a great, good grinding game, and yeah, I think it would be a little more action than that Deja Vu game. I wasn't even able to really properly finish that one. That really frustrated me because the guides. One guide kind of just didn't give the information what to do next, so I had to find another, and it did. I did as it said. I get to the end of the game, my character just gets arrested, which is the bad ending, which is basically just a game over. I don't even really think that's an ending. It's just game over. So, so that's the end of that. I said what I said the other show was kind of true. I still thriving maybe for 5 minute monologues, but sometimes this was a special occasion. You did ask me out on a date, and I figured this would be some good hot content. We'll go home, go play a game all together, okay? Well, when I really say all together, I mean you all get to watch me in another room because I don't let anybody in when I play video games. It's just the way I do things. And here we go. We are playing Final Fantasy. This is a much beloved game, and a game I've always held dear. I originally didn't own the game, but I rented it. Actually had the first time I ever saw this game. Other than seeing in Nintendo Power, was of course I had a neighbor who actually owned this and was an older kid, and of course we weren't worthy to play it with him. I don't know what it was back then. There was just neighbors sometimes you would have, and they just, depending on what age group they were in, they were just sort of like, well, you can't play my video. I think it really was a good introduction to what the problems with people are. People are generally very nasty. I always love when people are saying, well, I like to believe in the good hearts of people. And I think the reason why people are polite to each other most times is because they don't want to get punched. And they don't want to get, look bad in front of other people. But see, what it is when everyone was kids, nobody cares. And so people are just like absolutely greedy and nasty. It's only until really, unless someone starts following the Bible. I know I realize my character's supposed to be heel, so he's not supposed to talk about this. But we do have a thing called fourth wall, and we always hit the fourth wall button when we're ready to talk out of character. So, and really the Bible is, because your Lord tells you to forgive. If you can't forgive, then He won't forgive you. So, yeah, that we have a tendency to believe that truly. But I'm just saying about people general people that are outside sort of that Christian circle. They have a tendency to they generally become more polite as they get older because because of societal pressures to be polite. And well, that can break. That dam can break very easily. So the good news is, instead of doing like big 30-minute chunks of gameplay here, we're gonna break it down into 20 minutes. So well, that's kind of nice. That feels a little nicer, on me. Sometimes commentating over like 30 minutes, I don't know. If I'm just getting older or whatever, but I don't know. It's a lot of work. There are projects we usually try to. I don't know. It gets harder for us to commentate for longer periods of time unless we're just really got some really into the mood here. But yeah, but when you're kids, everyone that's kind of like the true state of people when you're children, because you don't really care about what society thinks. You don't want to look bad. Because it can affect your career and things like that. But as a child, you don't really care about anything. You're actually in your most selfish, sinful state. And I actually came to the argument that sinful state, all that ends up happening is that there's layers and layers that build on top of that try to kind of mask that, but sometimes that kind of leaks out. Unless you become, you follow Jesus Christ, you start, actually studying the Bible, you start to realize that actually you need to put Christ in there, the cross. You put the cross in the middle of that mess to clean it up finally. But I'm just talking about normal people who don't do that. Oh, that's the way it is. I'm not perfect. I'm not. I got silly characters, but I like to talk out for it. So, about the game, it's a classic game. Off on a rant talking about the people I used to grow up with, but most were very, very, very selfish. It was hard back then. It was hard to kind of break that, too. I had a little bit of that myself back then. That was hard to break. You're like, my toys, mine. Then it wouldn't help, like sometimes you would let it did actually happen once. I let someone borrow a game, and they let me borrow another game, and then they wouldn't return my game. So I had to actually have their friends finally talk them into, actually talk them and finally talk them down, and finally they gave my game back. And I think that was like developing my understandings of people, like that actually outside of Christianity, that really majority of people have various levels of con artistry. And it's only until they have a fear of hell and sort of have a fear of the Lord that it's like that can actually break that. But otherwise, you let people on their own, they'll just scam people. Dude. I don't want to hear it, and don't get me wrong, some people do actually fear the law. They do. They don't want to go to jail. They don't go to prison. But then some, you know how it is, like they can't help it. That was interesting. I hadn't read it like that in a long time. I think what it is and I've said this about these old games, is they bring back memories. It's not they can be a little bit of a baggage. Like this game is classic. I always say like back in the day, if only I just know that this was like I really only needed this game. It was just like I could just like spend so much time just messing around, just building the levels of the characters, having just a good old time. But back then, what happens is when you get older, and you play these games, and you start to remember, either positive or very negative events, around in your life. You might remember how people were, good and bad. That's the one thing you gotta look out for. Do not, if you're on the town block, don't turn down. It just reopens up the town screen. Good news, there's no loading, so it's not a big issue. It's just kind of like a brief 2-second. Oh, SM attacking some imps. G88 attacking me. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I re-roll. No, what I think happened was I re-rolled these characters because I didn't like having 2 weaker characters, and so in the case of IG88, I think I had to just make him also. Well, no, I may have made him like a red mage or something like that. I can't remember what I did. What I heard is it's best to have 2 knights and like 2 red mages or something, or 3 knights and 1 red mage. The red mages can basically do everything. So, and yeah. So, I'm gonna say it. A lot of these videos are gonna be a lot of grinding. I'll try to kind of describe it the best I can. So we just kind of start. The only one thing I've warned about, about this game is if you kill the first character. Take out the first character. See how it says ineffective? It's because they're all targeting an empty space. In most games, they've fixed this so that doesn't happen, because that's awkward. So in most cases, you can have the characters, they'll all target somebody, even if the first character spot that they are targeting is gone now. So that's a little thing you have to start to get used to. You have to get used to that, because this is a very early turn-based game. And of course, in a game like this, you don't need it, because, well, generally in most of those games, you need them because, they can detect traps, they can disarm traps. Well, usually, oh, this is another thing about this game. Like some of the games, you can actually just go to the king. Not this one. Like Dragon Warrior, you can do that, which is the first Dragon Quest game. You can do that there. That game's really good. I really like Dragon Warrior. But it does, it's before you have before you start having like team management, and I like team management. Like Ultimate although it's definitely not easy. I mean, like for example, one thing talks about all Ultimate X is that it focuses a lot on that you actually got to feed your characters. If you don't feed your characters, that their health starts to go down, which kind of sucks. But that, to be honest, that's actually just trying to be more of a more accurate. Just trying to be more of a hardcore RPG. It's kind of funny, actually, as of this recording, I had made a realization on Amazon that the author of those Choose Your Own Adventure books, that apparently they had retained the publishing, the rights to their books, because originally they were just like published like bands and stuff, and like a big publisher, but when that publisher went out and they couldn't retain the rights went back to the author, and they just self-published their own books. And so now you can actually go back, and you don't have to find some used copy somewhere on eBay from some reseller selling it for astronomical prices. You can actually get a fresh copy of a Choose Your Own Adventure book. That's really freaking cool. But that's another thing that came from this timeline. But it came from this around this time, of the 80s and 90s. The Choose Your Own Adventure books. Although you can get made fun of, you can get made fun of by people because you're like saying that's not how you read a book. You're not supposed to be skipping back and forth. And it's like, well, it's a Choose Your Own Adventure. Back then you couldn't win. Like it really was like there was always like people that could criticize you. But the reality is you really couldn't you could really if you did A, they criticize you. If you do B, they criticize you. Even though when you do A, they tell you to do B, but you do B, they criticize you not doing A. So it was kind of like in school. It was just they were training you to become a grifter and how to grift and control each other. So basically, if you think about it, like trolling shows, there's all kinds of shows about just trolling and about how to troll. It started in public education, and it's just the facts. Then once the internet came around, it was like everyone could actually unload I don't know. It really depends on what my mood is with each episode. I may do a complete commentary, or I may just do commercials. When I started the show, I was doing full commentary. I was really quite impressed with myself. I don't know. I think Deja Vu kind of sapped my energy. It was just so slow moving. It was like I could barely talk about anything. And even though I respect these games so much, and especially what I was trying to do at the time, with your imagination, storytelling, and stuff, I just couldn't keep going. that last part was 44 minutes long, like 40 minutes. I was like, I just can't. I just can't. I quit after like I forgot how long I went. But it was like I basically just gave like a summary of what eventually happens, which this game is not a complete let's play. This game is not. It's just, you play it, you have fun with it, and then do something else. That's what I decided to do with this one. Well, the episode's almost done. I'm probably cutting commentary now, but I'll see you guys next show.